guys, Celine here. So if you've been following me for a little while now, you may have seen that last week I was traveling for work and I managed to stay on track with my health and fitness goals, which is huge. Not a lot of people can do that, or more specifically, not a lot of people know how to do that. So I thought I'd come on here and share a couple of things that I do to help me stay on track while it is that I'm traveling, when I'm stepping outside of my home or controlled environment, if you will, right? Like I am on the go. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to meal prep or buy my own groceries and hold them into my hotel and being able to make all these meals that I would normally make while I'm at home. So, but there's a couple of things that I did that I feel really ensure my level of success. And I was, like I said, I was able to stay on track. I even got a couple workouts in from the hotel gym. But specifically on nutrition, I have some pointers that I wanted to share. And the first is to do your research, right? And because yes, it's true that you are not going to be at home, so it's not as controlled of an environment as perhaps it would be regularly, but there's still some things that you can do in order to plan and prepare ahead of time. So for example, looking around you, like, and maybe thinking about where it is that you're going to eat when you're over there, when you're in your new location. So I knew I was staying in a hotel that meant that I wasn't going to have a huge fridge, so I couldn't store a lot of things with me. But I also knew that there was a lot of restaurants with a variety of healthy options that were around me. So I was able to maybe think about that and start asking people for recommendations is one way of doing it, or just like good old Google, right? So just looking at some of those options ahead of time in terms of restaurants, or I like little holes in a wall, like little businesses that you can do, like little takeout bowls, warm bowls, things like that. Those are awesome. Build your owns are also very, very cool. And just planning out what my eating options were, right? So in terms of restaurants, that's number one of what I would recommend, is just making sure that you have an idea of what's around you so that you can make smart decisions. And then going a step further than that, you can even take a look at their menus and decide, okay, well, if I go to this one, I'm going to stick with one of these three options, right? Or if I go here, this is what I'm going to order. So by doing your research and looking ahead of time at the menus and picking even like your order ahead of time, it allows you to make logical decisions, right? In the moment where you're not hungry, you're not emotionally attached to something, you're not living in the moment of whatever happened earlier in the day. So you're making very logical decisions based on your goals. And if you can do that and stick with it when you actually go to the restaurant, don't even open up the menu, you've already made your choice ahead of time. It really does help to stick to that fundamental, goal that you're trying to achieve in terms of your health and fitness. Another cool tip, aside from just looking at restaurants that are around you, try and look for either grocery stores or convenience stores that can maybe sometimes offer some quick things that you can keep with you in your hotel. So one of the things that I absolutely love to buy when I'm on the road is a lot of water. I hate wasting plastic, but water is still the best beverage that I can get to fuel my body, right? So, and I drink a lot of water, you guys, no joke. I buy probably a case of 12 to 24 bottles of water whenever I travel. When James and I go on road trips or business trips or things like that, we usually buy a huge case of water for us and take with us on the road, which is what we did when we drove 20 hours down to Florida last March, right? So it makes it easy, it's accessible, it's dirt cheap, and that way I know, like, I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna reach for it, right? So versus buying a pack of pop or some kind of fruity drink or whatever, or worse yet, energy drinks, what I'm gonna do is stick with the water because I've bought it, I've invested obviously, and it's available. And so another thing that I like to do when I go to the grocery store is to look for quick, healthier snacks. Bananas is amazing, right? You don't even have to put them in a fridge. You can store them, and it counts as a fruit for my day. Like, it's just, I'm trying to obviously take a look at, water first, and then how can I add more veggies to my day, and fruit, right? So fruits and veggies, we know, guys, that those are the things that we should be eating most of. So and I ask myself that at every meal, how can I add more veggies to this? have I eaten a fruit today? Like, what is it that I can do to do something healthy? Because you know what? You're not going to run out of carb options. You're not going to run out of fat options, healthy or unhealthy, right? Like, you're not going to run out of processed shit available to you, right? Like, that is shoved down marketing wise. That is like totally available all the time, everywhere you go. What's not as available, what's not as marketed as much because there's not much profit in it, is the fruits and vegetables, is the water, and those are the things that you need most in your daily life. So making sure that you strike some kind of a balance. You know, I understand you're going to eat out, it's not going to be the same. Maybe your carb content's a little higher, maybe your fat content's a little higher for the day. But can you add more veggies to sort of not necessarily, you know, cancel one out or anything like that, but to sort of make it up a little bit, like to treat your body right, to let your body know that you're not like just, you know, throwing it to the wind type thing, throwing it all to the wind and giving up. So, and fueling it with the right things to keep it functioning properly. And so like, taking a look at a grocery store, buying the water, buying, you know, apples or oranges or bananas, or, you know, sometimes they even sell like peppers, like mini peppers in like containers or bags, or like just quick things that you can grab on the go. Carrots is a great option, quick and easy at the grocery store. Sometimes you can even get like mini cups of hummus, or like other like snacky things that are nice, good for you, healthy, but that won't totally tip the scales. You know what I mean? So I've got a couple notes here. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. Also, if you are, so I talked about restaurants, I talked about grocery store. If you are eating at a restaurant, just be aware that your portion sizes are, you know, enormous. So what I like to do when I'm going out is either share with people I'm with, or if I'm by myself, I try to like visually split my plate in half. And I oftentimes ask for to-go container right away, and I pack half of my dinner. That's not always possible depending on what you're doing, but what I try to do is very much like realize that my portions are way bigger than they would be even at home. So I just pack it away, out of sight, out of mind, and that way it's not a temptation for later. And if I wanted to snack later, if I get hungry again later, if I want to keep it for lunch the next day, bring it to the office, I can. I have those options. So, when it comes to dessert, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't enjoy, you know, a drink here or a dessert there, but again, just be mindful of that. And one of the questions that I ask myself, and I'm all about asking myself questions because a lot of this is about mindset and it's mental, right? So, and we're very emotional, you guys, like we're very spur of the moment, spontaneous, like, and we'll make decisions like that, especially when it comes to food. And that's oftentimes like our eyes are bigger than our stomachs and we get too much, right? And then if, I don't know about you, but if you grew up like me, you know, with the mindset that you should clear your plate and you shouldn't waste food because somebody somewhere was starving, like that shit ingrains in your brain, like that stays with you, right? And so but it causes also a detrimental effect where, you know, we overeat because of that, because we didn't portion properly, we loaded our plates, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm full, I know I'm full, I can't eat anymore, but like I've got all this food left and I can't go to waste. I can't let it go to waste because somebody in Africa is starving. Like, you know what I mean? Like it creates this kind of mental battle within yourself. So, and it creates those guilt feelings, and we don't want that. We want to escape that, right? So being mindful of the portion at the outset, trying not to make emotional decisions. So what I do is I try to ask myself these questions. I really sit and I ask myself, do I need this eating experience right now? Right? Just because everybody else is ordering a beer around me, or just because it's available, it's on the menu and it looks absolutely delicious, doesn't necessarily mean that I need to order it. Also, same thing with a dessert. The dessert list is never ending tempting. Like it will always look good. You will have dessert anywhere that you go, right? Like everywhere that you go, there's always an option for either a donut or a coffee, like or dessert at every menu. Like it's always available. So do I need this right now? Do I want it because it's something that I absolutely want to indulge in and enjoy? Like, is this an experience that I absolutely want to have? Or am I being spontaneous here? Am I being emotional a little bit? And do I want it because it's available, right? I can eat cookies anytime. Like, do I need this cookie right now? I can have a piece of cake whenever. I can buy one at the store. Do I need one right now? And if you do, go for it and feel guilt-free about it. But do you need it? And do you always need it? Like, no, not necessarily, right? So challenge yourself a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. But just recognize that not every eating experience needs to happen right now in the moment when you're out. Like, you will go out again. This won't be the last restaurant that you'll eat at. Do you understand what I'm saying? So hopefully it's helpful, recognizing that it's not necessarily about deprivation. That doesn't work. I don't believe in cutting out, groups of foods or eating experiences altogether, but moderation and picking your moments can make all of the difference, right? Especially if you're saying that you're committed to a certain goal and you have a strong why, and like you absolutely want to achieve a certain thing by a certain goal by a deadline. If you're like trying to fit into a dress or a new outfit, or if you have an event coming up or what have you, like maybe you don't have the cheesecake right now and you enjoy a cupcake later on, right? When you've hit that goal, what have you. That's it, and these decisions are very personal and very unique to each and every one of you. But just starting to change those habits and asking yourself the questions about, am I getting enough water? How can I add more veggies to this meal? Do I need this eating experience right now? Can help change those habits over time. And so two more things that I wanted to share. There's an app that I absolutely enjoy that I take with me, especially because I eat vegan. I find it super helpful, but it's not just for vegan. So if you're either vegetarian or you absolutely love to eat meat, that's fine too. I'm just saying that this app can be really cool to try and find restaurants around you if you're unfamiliar, or if for whatever reason like the maps isn't as appealing, or maybe not like user friendly. You can use this app, and it's called Happy Cow. No joke. Super cute title, super cute app. And it tells you like how far away those places are to you. You can look up at the menus and things like that. So I use that Happy app wherever I go. I found it super useful anytime I go, especially to the States and stuff like that. But I used it in Vancouver last week and it was amazing. And then the last thing that I want to share, and this is probably my most difficult experience, I would say, is airport processes. Like, it's airport food. I think we've got a long way to go here, people. I used to know, like, even here, I went to Ottawa, like the Ottawa airport. I was going to Vancouver, and some of the places that I would have normally gone to were either no longer there or under renovation. So, you can try and plan ahead of time sometimes, and sometimes that won't work. So just I'm trying to make do for what it is that you can do, for what it is that you have available rather, and just recognizing that airports are not the best places to get food. So what I did, not knowing what I would encounter, was I preloaded. So I ate before I left for the airport, like literally just before I called for my ride to the airport. And then I knew that I would be eating probably like when I landed. Fortunately, it was a long enough flight that I got the option to also purchase something on a flight. Again, some of those options are better than others, but just knowing where your not deficit points, but your low points or your loss points can be. And for me, that's an airport. For me, I know that airports are never good choices. Like, I rarely ever find a good choices. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll walk around, I'll try and find a sandwich or a wrap, if it's available, a veggie filled wrap. I'll try and I can usually find a banana, a bottled water. So I try to like grab what I can from whatever kiosks I can, but I recognize that those are not my best eating experiences, and I try to plan ahead of time. So hopefully you guys, those kinds of tips are helpful. I made this a little bit longer than I initially wanted to. But if you guys have any questions, or if you found this helpful, please be sure to leave your questions below, and please be sure to share this with somebody who can find it useful. And I would absolutely love to get your feedback on all of this and share more tips with you as we go.